Very welcome to our second Envolve ESG and Sustainability webinar. So in today's webinar, we're going to be discussing the topic of how manufacturing and supply chain companies can reduce paper and waste by digitizing work instructions, SOPs, and checklists, which will all be a really positive impact on your ESG and sustainability strategy. So I'd like to introduce you to our very own Sasha Cawthorne, who's taken time out of her busy schedule to be with us today to discuss this topic. So Sasha has a really interesting story to tell us. Having previously worked in IPS Kalina, she played a major role in their digital transformation journey. So Sasha's experience is really insightful and really valuable to any company who is going through their ESG strategy, no matter what stage of the journey you're on, whether it be at the beginning or you're kind of fully way through. So you'll definitely be able to get loads of insights from Sasha's story. So before I hand you over, I just want to let you know that we're streaming this through Crowdcast, and we're also streaming through LinkedIn Live and via our YouTube channel. And also, if you have any questions whatsoever throughout the webinar, we'll be sure to answer everything that you have at the end of the presentation. So please feel free to use the chat feature there, and we'll address everything at the end. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to my colleague Sasha and let her tell her story. Thank you, Sasha.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to share my screen there. So hopefully you're all able to see that all right, this at your end. So this presentation, as Amir said, is how manufacturing and supply chain companies can actually reduce the paper and waste by digitalizing work instructions, SOPs, so different types of procedures, checklists and things like that for a sustainability strategy. So these are the types of things that we are going to be looking at. So I'm going to speak a little bit about myself, kind of my background and where I've been on this journey and how I've ended up with Envolve. I'm going to look at kind of how we've fixed it using a connected workforce strategy and the process involved in that as well. So starting small but thinking big at the same time. And then I'm going to cover the ESG connection, so the environmental, social and governance connection. And then we're going to, as Amir said, we're going to look at the questions after that as well. So who am I? So I'm Sasha Cawthorne, as Amir said. I'm now Customer Success Executive at Envolve, but before I previously worked at IPS Kalina. So my role there was a senior training coordinator. So I actually looked after the whole of the training for the whole IPS group. So at the time it was 18 sites there that I had to look after. And as part of that role, I was involved in completing audits and things where training was purely paper based. When I started that role with IPS, it was brand new to me, and the first thing I looked at was the fact that everything was so hard to find, I would say. So it meant me sieving through files of training records to find the correct version or the latest version, which was really time consuming. I remember that my first involvement in an audit was really hard. It was again, so it took up so much time just to find the relevant item of training and the latest version number. And after the full day of spending it trying to find that training, I knew that something needed to change. It wasn't the most effective way to work, and there was something else that we should be able to do there. And that's when we decided to implement Envolve, and we've never looked back since. There was a lot involved, as you can imagine, going from a paper-based system to being paperless. But we also found that Envolve was amazing. So the help of the team was brilliant. They were very supportive, and they definitely went over and above to make sure that everything was streamlined. And everything, from a bulk upload point of view of SOPs to employees and things, everything was taken care of. So what I decided to do there was trial it at the biggest site in Featherstone, because having 18 sites, I thought that the best option there was to just trial it at one site, which was the biggest, as I've said, and there was around 400 staff there. And in doing so, I thought if there was any teething problems or anything that we wanted to change, we had the ability then to roll it out after we'd made those tweaks. But since we did that, being part of audits was a joy. It was something that we actually looked forward to because we had that confidence, and we also had that reassurance that it was everything was there, it was reliable, it was visible. And then before we knew it, we was able to show it off to the whole company, and the full IPS group had it at all sites. And then, a year later, it kind of then went across to the whole of Kalina as well. So the rewards and highlights of Envolve speak for themselves, they do, and word of mouth, I'm sure you can appreciate, is what kind of does it for you, really. People see the benefits from using it, they really do. And I think it's one of those things that's extremely exciting with Envolve at the moment, because we are listening to customers and really making those changes that are needed from that. So what was the problem then at IPS? So the problem was the amount of paperwork. We were conscious that actually there was a lot of paper being produced. It wasn't the most efficient way, it wasn't also the most effective way, and something needed to change. But also the workload involved in that. So we was having to print everything, there was duplicates everywhere, there was lots of cabinets. It was like something, it was a mammoth task just to even maintain. So stakeholders, they had no connections, nothing kind of fit into one place. We were using multiple different things for training. Nothing, fit in one platform, so to speak. We were delivering training off different platforms also. We had the knowledge that we wanted to increase the focus around reducing waste, but wasn't sure how to do it. Because, like I said, it was all based on paper. It was reliant on us using just paper sign-offs for people. So we would put an SOP in front of someone, they would read through it, and then actually they would just sign to say that they've read and understood it on paper, and then it would be scanned and copied. So again, duplicate workloads. And then also within the audits, we found that rather than 5-10 minutes trying to find an actual training record, it would take all day just to sift through those training records and actually find what we was looking for. So we knew that something needed to change. So what did we do? Well, we fixed it with a connected workforce strategy. So this was the scary bit. As part of anybody's new role, so not only was I new to the company, but I was bringing in a new system on top of that as well. And I knew that there was a lot of work involved. But I knew that if we wanted to get to, a better place, that's something that we needed to implement. So we started off slowly, small, at the first site, which was Featherstone. And I was able to create my own work groups based on areas and development to make the training unique to specific job roles and things, which was brilliant. The procedures really worked well. So as I said before, we would give it the same process. So we would go onto somebody's training plan. They would be able to read through that PDF or the attachment. It looked really, really good on the tablets. They was able to digest it, make sure they understood it, put it into practice as well, but also then sign to say they'd read and understood it. And then the manager or the trainer was able to do that too. And that was something we'd never been able to do previously. And that's just what it needed, from an audit point of view as well. They wanted to see that that process had been followed also, and that, somebody is being trained correctly. And this is why we knew that using Envolve, it was always going to be that process. It was something that we could use going forward. So not only could we do one-on-one procedures to train it out, but we could do bulk uploads for people as well. So we could train people in a group, which saved time as well, because as you know, some companies they don't just do that one-on-one training, they do it in groups as well. So we were able to do it that way. We did have the expertise from Envolve, and they were brilliant at helping whenever we had any problems. And it took around 6 months from start to finish. Again, 400 staff. So it wasn't just a small project. It was quite time consuming, given I had my own role to do as well as that. But it was very worth it. The time scale. The outputs at the end. So then it went on to being rolled out across the whole group and the whole 18 sites. What we also did was, and Envolve kindly offered group training sessions to managers. So not only did I get the training, but then the other people who would be involved in, or the managers actually delivering the training to their teams, had the training as well. And I was able then, with the knowledge I'd gained, able to train them on top of that also. And one of the key things there, and what we found the benefits of using Envolve, was that we had a complete visibility of compliance. So before, using paper, there was no visibility of what compliance the site was at, or the other sites for that matter. And if somebody asked, we wouldn't be able to tell them. So something, we really wanted to be able to see there what the compliance was, where the gaps were, so that we could make sure we was on top of the training. And using Envolve and the connected workforce, that's exactly what that did. We were able to see that compliance. And actually, when we uploaded this and went from paper to the Envolve platform, we saw that we went from 5% compliant to over 90% after actually physically delivering the training. So the results there speak for themselves. So as I said, we did start small. As with any kind of change, some people don't like it. Some people do. Behavioral, they get used to doing things a certain way. Times are changing, but not people don't always want to change and get on board with those things. But all I will say to that is that once people see the benefits and how much easier it is, not just for the trainer, but for themselves as well, as a manager or as a trainer, then the answers speak for themselves, because they are literally using it day in, day out. They see the benefits, and that's what people want to know. They want to think, what is actually in this for me? So once they use that platform and they see that benefit, they really will love the platform. So as I said, word of mouth really does go a long way. I had other sites really eager and things to kind of get on board. They would kind of come and see me about delivering that, delivering more training, so to speak. So yeah, as I've said, so the 18 sites as a whole, I would have other sites coming to me and saying, what is Envolve? Can you tell me more about it? How do we get on board with that? And it was more kind of just explaining to them that we was just doing a trial at the time, but it was coming. So they was really keen, really eager to use it. And what I also found by the end was the managers were owning their own training. So we had about 5 tablets on site, and beforehand, people were very reluctant to deliver their own training. They was quite negative about it. But by the end of this project, they actually wanted to deliver their own training. They wanted to keep on top of it. They saw it as a healthy competition between other managers as well, and that was really lovely to see. It was really kind of rewarding to think that people were seeing training differently, in a different light as well, and that they wanted to take that ownership. Because by the end of having everything structured right with work groups and employees and procedures, we were able to then do reporting on these things as well, and send it out on a monthly basis to managers, to let them know what their compliance was, to let them know what training was outstanding, but then also to let senior management know kind of where they were sitting, what compliance was like, and also what training was outstanding as well. So that was really good that we could also keep them involved in that process too. Then positivity from the senior management. So they really liked that they could see that visibility, and that they could be involved in that process as well. And I must say that the training and audits never looked better either. So having that visibility, and it's just that confidence as well, knowing that actually you're going into an audit, and if they ask you this question or where this training is, it's instantaneously there. It's not something you have to go and sit in a filing cabinet for a day and find. It's actually just all there ready for you to use, whether that be a report, whether that be somebody's certificate, whether that be a sign off as a procedure. It's all sitting there ready for you. So how does this link then with the IPS environmental, social and governance connection then? So basically, as a senior management team, they wanted to increase the focus internally on this matter. You know, we were keen on reducing the waste management side of it. So we were already doing that by moving from paper to actually doing this online. But then what we did struggle with is how do we tell people that's what we're doing? So as a site and as a group, they didn't have an intranet and there was no way of kind of sharing those stories. We would kind of engage with staff using more paper, so posters or pay slips and things. So we needed to do it a different way. And again, Envolve gave the connected workforce model there, allowing us to tell that story, but also through the app and using the mobile phones. So we was able to create news stories on there, share that with all sites or just one site if it was specific to that site. We were able to do pulse surveys and also get feedback as well, so ask for continuous improvement. But we would also be able to share those things, so anything that was coming up we would be able to share. We would be able to share jobs on there. We would be able to, so it's not just a learning management system, it offers operational excellence in that it's the social element too. So the duration of learning and physical events such as each employee receives. So that's where if a person logs in, they are able to actually see kind of, you know, the training that's being carried out and what's outstanding, but also it takes it one step further in that PDPs are also an option on the platform too. So at IPS, we decided to go down that route as well, so we could have it all in one place. As I said before, nothing kind of showed us that overview previously, where we could have training and PDPs and everything under one umbrella, so to speak, whereas this platform allowed us to deliver the training, have the social side of it, the surveys, but also develop people within there as well by carrying out like yearly reviews or even 6-monthly reviews, or be it mentor reviews, management, just one-on-ones, and actually document that somewhere as well. So that was the benefit there, that it was all there, all sitting in one place. Also, after working with Envolve, we're able to launch food safety in 3 different languages. And so we always found that there was a bit of a language barrier there. So from a diversity and inclusion point of view, that allowed us to really reach out to those members of staff as well. But also, even more so now, we have the video learning facility as well. So again, that really does break down even further the diversity inclusion for languages, because it may not be that it's words, so to speak, but the videos are showing step-by-step instructions on how to do something. So again, that will further help that going forward. So we were able to kind of launch a deskless workforce, so to speak. So not only did it have the tablet devices, it's the mobile app as well. So people were able to download that and carry out these things on both devices as well, laptops, computers, and especially during the time of COVID, that we saw that really be beneficial to people. You know, some companies may find the same, that they actually don't have that many different platforms that they can engage with their staff with, and that's one thing at IPS they found too. So they was heavily reliant on paper or like I say, just, you know, those regular communication that you have with staff. If they had an email address, they would use the email option as well, but there was nowhere where you could talk to everybody and move with the time until we implemented Envolve there. So using the app really was kind of beneficial there to engage with everybody at different levels, you know, regardless of what job that they had. And then tracking employees as well. So as I've said, the PDPs really played a part there, and being able to see kind of what training's outstanding, what's being completed, and how that fits going forward. So how people want to move forward, how do they want to progress, and seeing those kind of, you know, how that progression really, how they want to get, where they want to get to, and how they're going to do it, and it all being into one place. so we were also able then to launch employee surveys, as I've said, and get the opinion of staff, which is obviously really important. And up until that point, we didn't have the option apart from using paper again. So as you can tell from the story, it's been pretty much paper focused, which we really wanted to reduce the carbon footprint there and help the environment by reducing all of that. And this system has allowed us to do just that. It not in just the actual training side of it, from the social side of it as well. And then from a governance point of view, it's the reporting. So what we was able to do, again, from the structures that we'd completely created ourselves, was print off reports for managers, as a manager matrix, just to see what was outstanding, see what had been completed, just so it was easier for those managers to kind of maintain and take ownership of that, really. But then we were also able to drill it down further by procedure and things, and courses, to see what was outstanding. But also the main dashboard on the platform would allow us to see what was due to expire, what had expired, and what was due to expire in 30, 60, and 90 days. So it allowed us to keep complete ownership of that and make sure we were in a really good place compliance wise. And from a senior management point of view, they loved the visibility of this site compliance, of the reporting. And I used to share that on a regular basis in management meetings. And they were the tools and the figures I would use to kind of say, this is where we're sitting at, this is what we need to do going forward. That's my story, guys. So if anyone has any questions on any of that I've discussed.
Thank you so much, Sasha. That was really, really good. I swear your journey was just amazing what you went through, like playing a major role in that, and just like, and as well getting all the other sites involved as well was just yeah, incredible. So yeah, really, really interesting. Yeah, and if anyone has any questions, we have one or two coming through there. So just you can pop them in the chat or else on LinkedIn if you're live there. So just one thing, Sasha, that's come through is if you think that ESG is a priority for senior managers, directors in that industry, logistics, kind of manufacturing industry, and if not, do you see that kind of mindset changing? I know it's such a topical ESG and sustainability is such a topical subject at the minute, so I think it's kind of criminal not to get involved in it at the minute, like, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? You're like, you know,
I suppose
yeah,
it's very much like the times of
yeah,
digital transformation as well.
yeah,
It's kind of it's just it's heading that way, and I
yeah,
think the more people are getting involved, the more they're understanding what's behind it as well. But any kind of help that we can kind of do to reduce all those things, carbon footprint, all of those types of things, will be beneficial. And I just think it's every single company seems to be
yeah,
doing
getting on.
whatever they can to get on board and reduce that, which is really good to see. But yeah, I think it will be more and more apparent that people are going down that route. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And as we're saying, like the platform isn't just a learn and development platform. And was that kind of well embraced by senior managers that they could see, like, the quality aspect of that they benefit from the ESG, everything like that. There was like, it's not just a single platform,
Yeah,
just learn development,
I think with any company, they want to see that they're going to get the
mm,
benefit out of it.
yeah,
And, it's one of those that if you've got the platform, the availability to see everything there, as opposed to having multiple different platforms, it's always going to be a benefit to the organisation because everything sits in one place. I think the
yeah,
thing for me was with them not having an intranet, so to speak, it was quite difficult to
of course.
share
Yeah,
stories, share anything really.
yeah,
So that was really beneficial to us to be able to do those things, even newsletters and things,
yeah.
because you can share that with the team and they feel included, and it really goes a long way.
Well, that's it too. Yeah, exactly. Because, like, as you said, the social side of it as well, and everyone's getting like visibility on a lot of aspects of the business that they might have not got before. So,
Yeah.
I'd say employees really embraced it as well. Like, everyone across the board. Yeah. So that was great. But No, look, fantastic presentation, and it's a really, as I said, like it's a really interesting story that you had there. Like going from a complete paper base to transforming it into using a platform where you could just access everything and like getting rid of all the waste and the paper and everything. So, yeah, really interesting.
Perfect.
And I just looking here if there's any more questions coming through. Um, so we have one there from Grant. So, hi Sasha, did you have any hard measures in place to measure progress? Yeah, that's actually a really good question. Like, obviously you were kind of had a major role in implementing it. So yeah,
Yeah.
what was the measure? Did you have to like measure success in a certain way, or how did that kind of work?
Yeah, so as with anything, I think we had kind of a tracker in place there to make sure we was on track at
Yeah,
which point, so to speak, which worked quite well because if we weren't, we would give us that steer kind of to push on a little bit further. But I
yeah,
think also we knew that we wanted to be fully implemented and across all sites by well, I actually gave double that, so probably a year's time. So
yeah,
that was always kind of being tracked really, but also it was mainly to see where we were from a compliance point of view.
yeah,
So that was the thing I was really looking at to kind of see, where we was when. So when it all went on in 6 months, I gave us another few months to kind of make sure things were trained as they should, and actually see what the compliance there was.
yeah,
So we was always, or I was always checking, kind of, um, are we on track,
yeah,
and how are we from a training point of view? Do we need to do anything different?
yeah.
And
No, that's brilliant. Yeah, because as you say, yeah, of course, when you're implementing a new system, there's a lot of kind of like I suppose worry about like have to measure the effectiveness of it all as well. So no, that's really good. Great question, Grant. And we have another one there coming. Did you see the change in another good one, the change in behavior and employee behavior from this also? Was there any kind of like maybe, going from the like I suppose all paper based training to not? Did they get more engaged maybe or
yeah, they did, to be honest. And I wasn't sure which way it was going to go at first because I
yeah.
think when I started it initially, they was very negative about training. Their
Mm,
experience with training before wasn't very good, in that they would have had paper and it may have been lost, or they may have had to retrain on something.
yeah,
So the
yeah.
frustration
The
was there
frustration.
from them that
Yeah,
actually, why am I having to keep doing this? And then so you can imagine they go kind of, it all goes downhill from there. They don't want to do it again because they've
yeah,
already completed it. Whereas this was the visibility. They didn't have to read it. Once it's there, it's there. And actually, they could be proactive with it as well. So I found a lot more people were engaged in it. They understood how it works because it's very simple and easy to use, which is
yeah.
one of the biggest things. Um, Managers were also able to get, but everybody was talking about it as well. So they
Mm,
wanted to do it as well. They wanted to log in and complete the training. They wanted to do that, and because clicking on the procedures and things was again easy, and they could read through it at leisure, and then sign it at the end.
yeah.
It worked really well.
Well, that's it. I mean, like, if it's easy to use, you're definitely more inclined to like use it and to be more enthusiastic about something. So, no, that's really good. Thank you for that
You're welcome.
question, Zoe, and answer. So, if we've no other questions there, I might just ask Sasha if you could share the last screen there. Down. But yeah. So yeah, so just want to thank everybody for joining our webinar today, and especially special thanks to Sasha for taking time out to join us today and to go through your journey and everything with you had with IPS Clean. It was really interesting. So yeah, just let everyone know that you can get in touch with us, not a problem. And if you don't want to even hear from us, you can hear from the likes of Sasha. We can get you in touch with any of our customers, Coca-Cola, Kalina, Nelly Pack. If there's anyone that you would like to speak to, that is not a problem at all. We would be more than happy to get you in touch with any customers if you want to know more from them about the Involve platform and how it can really help your ESG sustainability strategy along with many other aspects of your business, from quality, human resources, learning development. So yeah, that is no problem. But Sasha, thank you so much now for that. That was a brilliant presentation, and yeah, look forward to seeing you on many other things.
You're very welcome.
And yeah, thank you so much. And chat to you all later. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye bye.
Bye.